That's a beautiful one there. Odd. Just drag it. Hello? Oh.
Grammarly helps you work more efficiently, which makes accomplishing your work goals easier. Get full sentence rewrite suggestions.
Shut up.
Richard is going to sing a song for you now that we did on the last Pink Floyd record.
Posh fucking git.
Vision Bell. This one's called Wearing the Inside Out.
This is where I like your guitar playing, you posh git. Fucking stupidly rich. I've got so many millions I can abandon mansions. Not for the homeless.
when I think aloud. Extinguished by light, I turn on the night. Where it's darkness, where empty smile. Systems all arrive. I'm wearing the inside out.
The funeral industry has been ripping off the public for more than a decade because the majority of people don't know the simple...
Up, you stupid fucking arsehole. Yeah, you're going to need a lot of funeral tickets coming up. I don't give a shit about you. You stupid faced fucker. Oh, let's find something sensible before I fucking lose my shit. Hey, just get off for a start. Oh, that's even worse. That's even worse. Is there anything on here worth watching? Fuck's sake. Yeah, I'm gonna listen to you. What? No. No, mate. Mm-hmm. Oh, for fuck's sake. I didn't know you covered that. Yeah, alright. Alright. Let's kick that.
Dylan!
You motherfucker.
You son of a bitch.
Right, I'm not fucking around with this one, because Predator isn't the kind of movie with which one fucks. It's quite simply one of the greatest action movies ever made. A big, hulking, unapologetic mass of 1980s testosterone, bravado, guns, and general awesomeness that's been scientifically proven to turn boys into men, women into quivering wrecks, and men into goddamn sexual tyrannosaurs.
Just like me.
It was one of the formative cinematic experiences of my life, back when I was still an impressionable young drinker, and one of the holy trinity of Arnold Schwarzenegger movies that every sane individual should watch in their lifetime. And a few years ago, it would have seemed almost redundant to heap praise on a movie like Predator, but it's come to my attention that there are people out there, particularly from the younger generation, who still haven't seen it.
Fuck.
Even worse, there are people whose only frame of reference for the Predator franchise is the god-awful piece of excrement that came out a couple of years ago. Clearly, this is an unacceptable state of affairs, and there's only one way to put it right. This calls for another episode of The Drinker Recommends. So let's dive straight into the plot of Predator, and then I can tell you why I think it's so damn good. Predator kicks off in Central America by introducing us to Dutch, the leader of an elite special forces team of 1980s archetypes. There's Blaine, a big hulking soldier who chews tobacco and fights with a fucking minigun. And I guess he's a busy guy because
I ain't got time to breathe.
there's also his buddy, Mac, who's so hard he dry shaves in the middle of an operation just because he can. Billy, a Native American track.
Did you hear that? The macho archetype of a bunch of 1980s fuckers. Oh, what was it? 1980s stereotypes. Oh, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
With a sixth sense who totally doesn't understand jokes.
Right, I said, you know, I'd like a little pussy. She said, me too. Mine's as big as a house.
Until he does. Hawkins, the wannabe comedian of the group who's always making jokes about his girlfriend's vagina.
Jeez, you got a big pussy. Jeez, you got a big pussy.
Careful, son, that sort of talk might offend someone. And Poncho, who's just kind of there. Oh, and he likes grenade launchers. The team's been brought in because a foreign diplomat's been shot down and captured by rebel insurgents in a country that conveniently never gets named. And yeah, I know people are going to say it's Valverde, the same fictional country from Commando, but it's never explicitly mentioned in the theatrical cut, so I refuse to accept it. Anyway, their mission is simple. Sneak over the border, rescue the diplomat, then get to the chopper and head back to base for beer and steroids. Complicating matters, however, is the addition of Dutchie's old friend Dylan, who's apparently a son of a bitch. He also pushes pencils for the CIA now, and Dutch doesn't think it's a good idea for him to go along on the mission, but his commander is like, nah, it'll be fine. So anyway, they fly over the border while listening to rock and roll music, making pussy jokes, and spitting tobacco on each other's boots. God, I love the 80s. They soon find the crashed chopper and tracks leading back to the rebel base, but this is where the plot thickens. Not only is the chopper some kind of classified surveillance aircraft, but they also pick up the trail of a group of American soldiers that were following the rebels. Clearly someone got there before them, only it didn't work out too well for them. But who were these men?
Green Berets out of Fort Bragg. Now what the hell were they doing here?
That's a good question, Dutch. It looks like there's something shady going on here, but Dylan's like, nah, it'll be fine. Anyway, they make it to the rebel base, where they see one of the hostages being executed, so it's time for a bit of good old-fashioned ass-kicking. I love this battle scene. Dutch and the team are just striding around like gods, blowing shit up with absolute impunity. There's miniguns, grenades, choppers getting shot down, Dutch lifting up a truck for some reason, people running around on fire, and of course, the obligatory Arnold one-liners.
Knock, knock.
Needless to say, Team America comes out on top. Billy has a good laugh, and they even manage to take one of the rebels prisoner. It's funny how the hot young woman is the only one to survive this absolute massacre, eh? I also love how nobody even bothers to ask her name until we're like 80 minutes into the movie. However, all is not well. As the smoke clears, Dutch figures out that...
You sell some? It's all bullshit. All of it.
What an arsehole. But more bad news is to come. Rebel reinforcements are closing in around them, and their rescue chopper can't risk landing to pick them up, so they've got no choice but to hike out through the jungle to reach the extraction point. Nice! A fractured group forced to work together to overcome difficult challenges in a race against time to reach a final objective. But this is where the movie shifts gears as it moves into its second act. See, the first part of this film was a pretty conventional action movie with a bit of intrigue and conspiracy to spice things up. But now we're getting into something very different. We keep seeing shots of Dutch and the team through some kind of thermal imaging camera, like someone or something is following them. But what could it be? And why is it so interested in them? Anyway, they stop for a rest and Anna pretends to give Poncho the dick eye so she can escape. So Hawkins goes after her, but then a white knight comes in to save her from his toxic masculinity. What could this thing be? It's like it's invisible or something. Anyway, it grabs his body and drags it away into the jungle. Then Dutch and the others show up and they realise Hawkins is missing, so they go looking for him. But then Blaine gets killed too. Mac loses his mind and starts shooting with the minigun, and everyone else thinks it looks like fun, so they join in too. You know, I can't help but think that blindly firing into the jungle is a pretty quick way to waste all your ammo, and it's probably not what real Special Forces operatives would do in this situation, but who the fuck cares when it looks this good? This scene is legendary for all the right reasons, but when the smoke eventually clears, they realise they haven't killed whatever they were shooting at. Dutch wants answers, but nobody seems to have any. Dylan reckons they were ambushed by the rebels, but Billy has a different theory.
It's a metaphor.
There's something out there waiting for us.
It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor. Like, we all scream at the fucking starry sky. Why, gods, why? Does it have to be like this? And we scream our questions, and we just fucking wank our shots off. That's what that represents, I think. Could be wrong. Could mean something else. But I've yet to think of something else. Anyway, in the absence of a better idea,
And it ain't no man.
Anyway, they make camp for the night and set booby traps all around, but then a wild animal accidentally sets one off, and while Mac's busy knifing it to death, the predator comes in and takes Blaine's body away. That's when Dutch realises it's using the trees to move around, so he decides to set a bunch of new traps that'll force it to move along the grounds. Because as we all know...
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Wow, lucky it doesn't decide to attack while they're preoccupied with all this construction work and totally vulnerable, because that would have been pretty embarrassing. Anyway, they set their traps and Anna tells them a spooky ghost story.
The demon who makes trophies of man.
Then the predator comes in and walks right into one of the traps. Poncho gets injured in the confusion and the predator escapes. And Mac loses his mind again and goes after it. Then Dylan goes after Mac, but it doesn't end too well for either of them. Billy decides guns are for pussies and tries to take it out hand to hand. Then Poncho gets killed too. Shit man, even Dutch can't take this thing out. Then the script decides it's time for Anna to leave, resulting in a line that'll be immortalised forever in the annals of internet memedom.
Get to the chopper!
Anyway, with Anna gone and everyone else dead, all that's left to stand against this monster from another world is Dutch. So he does the heroic thing and runs the fuck away. And to be honest, who can blame him? But then he falls off a waterfall and lands in a patch of mud, and with the predator closing in to finish him, it looks like our man is done for. Wait a second, why did it walk right past him when it can literally see his body heat? Did it go blind or something?
Couldn't see me.
You know, normally I get to have a field day picking apart the logical inconsistencies in whatever passes for modern screenplays, mocking them for their ridiculous plot holes and lack of common sense. But the weird thing with Predator is that the storyline is actually pretty tight and well constructed. Events are well set up and rationally explained, so you can understand what's happening, and more importantly, the reasons behind it. The story generally follows a consistent and believable structure that doesn't rely on coincidence or convenience to hold it together, or require you to completely switch off your thinking meat in order to enjoy it. Wow, it's almost like this movie was well written. So anyway, it's time for the third and final act. Dutch has found a way to even the odds against the Predator, but without any guns left, he's forced to improvise his own makeshift traps and primitive weapons to take it on. This time, he's the invisible hunter stalking his prey and gradually wearing it down. Dutch's situation forces him to fight smarter and more cautiously, using ingenuity and resourcefulness to his advantage, while the Predator gets frustrated and starts blasting away at everything that moves, just like he once did. It's an interesting little reversal of their previous roles, and another sign that this script is a lot smarter than people give it credit for. And of course, it all culminates in one final battle, face to face. No weapons, no technology, just Dutch and the Predator going at it. Well, until Dutch lures it into a trap and drops a giant fucking log on its head, and then it has a good laugh and self-destructs. And that's it, that is the plot for Predator. You know, the thing I really like about this movie is, well, everything to be honest. For a start, it's brilliantly paced, cramming an amazing amount of plot, action, character development and exposition into just 107 minutes of runtime. But somehow it never feels rushed or incomplete. Neither is there a single scene or piece of dialogue that feels flabby or unnecessary. The quieter moments go on just long enough to let the tension and foreboding rise to a peak, before punctuating it with scenes of short, brutal, violent action. It's also amazing how easily and effectively this movie switches gears and even entire genres. It starts out as a straight-up action movie with all the classic elements you'd expect. A diverse team of tough guys with unique skills and personalities, a simple objective, plenty of action and intrigue, and a growing suggestion that all is not quite what it seems. The action scenes are competently shot, we get to see the team working together as a unit, making use of their various skills and abilities, swapping banter and insults, and generally kicking ass. The first act is almost a mini-movie all by itself, culminating in a big set-piece battle that takes care of the supposed bad guys and resolves a lot of the questions raised in the setup. But then the Predator shows up and the movie takes a sudden turn into survival horror territory, as the team find themselves being hunted by something they've never encountered before. A monster that starts to pick them off one by one. There's skinless bodies, blood and gore, people getting dragged off into the jungle and having limbs blown off. It's fucking awesome, and it's helped by the amazing location and and sets. The dense, steaming jungles of Central America create an atmosphere of tension, paranoia, and claustrophobia where you feel like anything could happen at any moment. And it's all helped by smart and restrained use of the Predator itself. See, intelligent scriptwriters know that the true essence of fear lies in the unknown. When you don't know what exactly you're up against, you've got no frame of reference for how to deal with it, and so you start to panic, because it could literally do anything. But the more you understand an enemy, the more you begin to see their motives, capabilities, and limitations in an all too human light, and the less scary they become as a result. Movies like Jaws also taught us that the less you see of a monster visually, the more your mind starts to conjure up things far more terrifying than anything the filmmakers could actually create in reality. Predator takes this idea to the next level, not just by keeping its monster off screen for most of the movie, but by literally making it invisible when it does show up. It's able to outthink and outmaneuver its opponents, killing them with ease when they least expect it. And on the rare occasions when someone actually catches a glimpse of it, it's just this weird, distorted shape that shows up for a few seconds before disappearing into the jungle like a ghost. Predator very effectively creates the feeling that you're seeing something uncanny, something alien, something wrong. Even by the end, when the creature finally gets unmasked, you still don't know that much about it, where it comes from, or what it really wants. And that's just fine with me. Those are questions I never wanted answered in the first place. But by the time the third act comes along, the movie's smart enough to realise that it can't sustain the element of horror any longer, so it switches things up again, this time turning into a simple survival story. One man, alone and practically unarmed, pitted against a stronger and better equipped opponent, forced to rely on primitive ingenuity and cunning to win the day. It's a pretty cool message actually, showing that the ability to think outside the box and adapt to changing circumstances is more important than brute strength and firepower. It's a shame the 2018 movie forgot about all of this. The cast is large and diverse, because believe it or not, Hollywood was once capable of casting diverse actors without the blue-haired land whales of the world screeching about it on Twitter. Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking that the script might struggle to balance so many characters, but somehow it never drops the ball. There's a genuine sense of camaraderie and banter amongst the team, whether they're taking the piss out of each other on the chopper flight in, or making little references to past missions. You get the impression that these guys have worked together for a long time. Their friendships feel natural and believable, unlike the god-awful movie from 2018 where almost every line of forced, awkward dialogue made you want to shove a sharp pencil up your nose and headbutt the nearest table. The casting is excellent. These aren't a bunch of clean-cut 25-year-olds that look like they just stepped out of a fashion magazine. They're older, they're grizzled, and they're hardened by tough life experiences. They smoke, they drink on the job, and they chew tobacco, because why the fuck not? Everyone feels distinct, well-rounded and well-developed, with their own unique personalities and outlook that shapes their decision-making. Blaine is brash and overconfident, thinking he can take on anything, and as a result, he's one of the first to die. His death puts his best friend Mac on a path of revenge that ultimately proves to be his undoing. Billy, on the other hand, is quiet and brooding, but he's got a kind of fatalistic personality that causes him to sacrifice himself when he might have otherwise made it out. Dutch is the smart, well-balanced leader of the team. He's experienced and good at his job, but kind of world-weary and cynical, especially when it becomes clear he and his team have been used. He's also one of the more open-minded members of the group, willing to contemplate the idea that they're fighting something that none of them have ever encountered before. And hats off to director John McTiernan, the guy actually manages to coax a decent performance out of Arnold. I mean, he's not going to be winning any Oscars, as if anyone cares about the Oscars these days, but he effectively sells the idea of a rational man that's increasingly out of his depth, struggling to deal with a situation he doesn't understand. Dylan, meanwhile, is the outsider of the group. He's not one of the team, he's kind of rusty when it comes to field work, and he keeps their true mission a secret from the others. Most of the group are pretty hostile towards him as a result, especially Mac, who even threatens to murder him at one point.
You give up position one more time, I'll bleed you. Real quiet. Leave you here. Got that?
But he kind of redeems himself as the movie goes on, showing a willingness to pitch in and help the others, and even risking his own life to try to rescue Mac. It's an interesting and surprisingly complex character arc that never feels forced or simplistic, and it's helped by a great performance from Carl Weathers, proving he can be more than just Apollo Creed. If I had to level any kind of criticism here, I'd say that Anna could have done with a bit more development. I never really got a sense of who she was, why she was working for the rebels, or what she really wanted. It's not like I needed her whole life story or anything, but a little more backstory or character development wouldn't have gone amiss with her. Honestly though, that's pretty much as far as my criticisms go. Predator is a violent, gory, clever, perfectly paced, tightly written action, horror, science fiction extravaganza. An unapologetically awesome slice of 1980s nostalgia that's actually way better than pretty much every bland, watered down action movie being shot out by Hollywood these days. It's a movie that gets basically everything right, and every failed attempt at a sequel, crossover, or reboot only serves to highlight just how much better the original was. So do yourself a favour, pour yourself a beer, look out a copy, and give it a watch, because the drinker heartily recommends it. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away!
Oh man. He's the best movie critic on the fucking internet. Without a doubt. I already love the movie, but it just makes me love it even more. However, if you fall on the negative criticism side of the line, you probably fucking deserve it. In fact, you undoubtedly deserve it. Oh. Excuse me. Alright, what's next on the chopping block? Huh? How do you make on? Oh, fuck's sake. The first Terminator and the second one were brilliant. Everything that came after that is pretty much unwatchable. It's just fucking stupid. Manipulative politics woven in. I cannot bear to watch that one. With this one, I give a little bit less of a shit. Then I can probably have it torn apart. Okay.
I tell you what I believe. Shit happens.
You're not kidding, my Rastafarian friend. In 2018, shit very much did happen. And that shit had a name. The Predator. You know, I really love the original Predator. For me, it's one of the best sci-fi action movies ever made. A big, meaty, unapologetic slab of 1980s testosterone that stood the test of time better than any of today's crap is likely to. It's perfectly paced. It subverts our expectations by going from a standard action movie to a sci-fi horror film. It's filmed in stunning real-life locations. It introduces a genuinely intriguing and unsettling monster, an atmosphere of slowly building menace and danger, punctuated by scenes of bloody carnage and explosive set pieces, not to mention some of the biggest action stars of the day. Shit man, even Van Damme was going to be in this at one point, although thank God they went down a different route. Predator 2 moved the action from the steaming rainforests of Central America to the equally hostile concrete jungle of Los Angeles, portraying LA as a stinking, dilapidated, war-torn shithole that nobody wants to live in. Not too far from reality, I guess. Predator 2 gets a lot of shit these days, but I actually thought it was an okay movie that expanded on the lore of the series and respected its predecessor without straight up copying it. It even had some pretty cool action scenes. Holy shit, man, this guy does more coke than I do. Unfortunately, they made the fatal mistake of putting this piece of fan service in, mostly just for a laugh. But there's one guy who wasn't laughing. In fact, he decided it would make a great basis for a shitty cash grab crossover movie that effectively torpedoed two franchises at once. You fucking legend, Paul. Never change. Then they tried to go all serious with Predators, a movie that taught me three things. 1. Adrian Brody is not a viable action hero. 2. A predator should never be shown fighting a sword-wielding Yakuza in a field of swaying grass. And 4. You need to use numbers properly in your movie titles, rather than just giving us subtle and confusing variations on the same fucking word. The upshot here is that the Predator series was in dire straits. Much like Alien, it had been rebooted and reimagined so many times that it was hard to remember how or why it had ever actually been good. Then came the announcement that a new movie was on the way, with Shane Black writing and directing. Now this seemed like good news at the time. Shane Black did some of the script work and even appeared in the original Predator back in the 80s, and he'd gone on to become one of the highest paid screenwriters in Hollywood. This was a guy who knew his stuff, a guy who helped start off the entire franchise, and if anyone could restore Predator to its former glory, it was him. I really should learn from past experience. Anyway, I'm about to go into my deep and penetrating plot analysis of The Predator, so drink 'em if you've got 'em, because like my stepdad used to say, you're gonna need it by the time I'm done with you. So, The Predator begins with a space battle that looks like a piece of B-roll from a Star Trek Voyager episode. A Predator ship is under attack, which cripples the engines, forcing it to crash land on Earth. And as luck would have it, it comes down near a US Special Forces team, headed up by that guy from Narcos. His team finds a crashed escape pod from the ship, along with the Predator helmet and gauntlet thing. And without skipping a beat, Narcos guy puts the gauntlet on and it locks into his arm, and he's like, nah, it'll be fine. What are you doing, you fucking ham sandwich? This is an unknown piece of alien technology you're holding. Why are you even touching it? Never mind putting it on your arm. It could be radioactive or crawling with deadly bacteria for all you know. Why are you not concerned that you can't remove it? What if it's stuck to you forever? What if it's a fucking bomb? Anyway, then the Predator shows up and kills everyone except Narcos guy, who uses the gauntlet thing to temporarily stun it. Wait, what? Why wasn't the Predator actually wearing this stuff? Why would it remove its own protective gear when it just landed on a hostile alien world? Why is the gauntlet even compatible with human physiology? Wouldn't there be some kind of sensor or computer inside it that would register the fact it was no longer attached to a predator arm? It's worth pointing out that all of this stuff happens in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Anyway, so Narcos guy runs away and then a chopper lands and some asshole named Traeger shows up to recover the predator technology. And what's this exciting, multifaceted character all about? He really likes gum. Great work, Shane. You're worth every penny, mate. So Traeger and his mates catch up to Narcos guy in a nearby town the following morning. How do they find him? Don't know, but it's okay anyway, because Narco guy has a cunning plan. He turns invisible using a magical bullshit ball that he borrowed from Black Panther, then threatens a local bar owner into mailing the stolen Predator gear to his P.O. Box address back in the States. Then he swallows the magic invisibility ball so he can shit it out later. What is going on? Why would you ever assume this guy's gonna do what you ask him when it's pretty fucking obvious you're an extremely shady character on the wrong side of the law, and the gear you're trying to smuggle out of the country is highly illegal and possibly dangerous? What's to stop this guy handing it in to the local police, or the US military units that showed up literally seconds later, or even selling it on the black market for massive profit? Wouldn't US customs officers check it like this and find that it contains dangerous alien technology when it arrives in their country? Also, why did you swallow the magic invisibility ball and allow yourself to be captured when you've literally just demonstrated that it can turn you invisible? Were you born?
You can shut up now. I loved her, man. I loved her. I loved her. She hates me. Why do they all hate me? Are they stupid? But they're not flawless. They're not perfect. But I didn't think they were stupid. I loved them, man. I fucking loved them. I'm already getting slightly pissed off with David Gilmour. Posh French talking git who abandoned a mansion instead of letting the homeless take it. I gotta do something better with that. Your only good redeeming quality is your guitar playing skills. Other than that, you're a dickhead. You're not a better writer than Roger. Oh, don't even get me started on them fucking assholes. No. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. The Last of Us 2? Are you fucking kidding me? Is there anything good left? Avatar. Oh, hell no. It is a bit of a muddled mess. David Cowell portrays the role well, but it's a bit of a mess. They should have just stuck to the fucking story, like. I cannot deal with it. Is there anything being made today that isn't subversive? Or was there ever anything that wasn't subversive? I used to like Lord of the Rings. The Twin Towers collapsing. That was symbolic. It was terrible. Necessary. The Hidden Hand interview. The Hidden Hand interview. The noun. Oh, for fuck's sake, man. Obviously you're hiding it. No. Oh. It has to be read. I've read it. This is going to give the wrong interpretation. He's speaking for an hour. I'll give him 20 seconds. Just get past this fucking opening bullshit.
Now that, you know where that's from. I didn't have to do anything there. That's My Fair Lady. It's Hirschfield.
Welcome back, everyone. So it's my great pleasure to introduce our final speaker. So in organizing the conference, we had one principle, which is that you have to end on a high note. So we're very excited to have Mark Wilson as the final speaker. And the second thing that was clear to us from the start of organizing this conference is that Mark was the one philosopher that we definitely had to have on the program. So his work, in some sense, there was a trend in 20th century philosophy of science to look at scientific theories with all the tools of predicate logic at hand. I think Mark has argued in a variety of ways that
shut the fuck up.
Threads can help us better understand some rather grand issues in how humans should work with concepts over time. What's the, because that's what I'm going to try to talk. And the example I'm going to pick, when you learn elementary physics, you're asked to swallow some things that I remember I thought were pretty strange, and that's because partially because I was educated with too much logic. and so this isn't alone for me. This is from a well-known book on nonlinear elasticity. Most modern expositions of basic mechanics, in a freshman book, ask the reader to emulate the Red Queen by believing 6 impossible things before breakfast. Okay, well, I could probably figure out 6, but here are 3. I'm just going to talk about the setup of the strain equation. In fact, not even the wave equation, though historically that's what came first, but just a loaded, an equilibrium.
Why don't you get the fucking point?
Loaded string. Okay, and if you look, there are lots of different varieties, but you'll find a mixture of these flavors. Though it's supposed to be ways of conveying information, because if we hadn't tolerated these things, we could have never developed classical mechanics. Because we'll see.
Nah. Can I end you? You're making no sense in the immediate outset. The hidden hand interview. It's important stuff. Why is that? You know what? I'll shut the whole shit down, like. If I cannot find it. Fucking assholes. Are you kidding me, man? Oh, it's a song. It's a song. I thought it was the fucking actual story.
A moron, or was it like a conscious decision? So anyway, now we're—
Shut the fuck up.
Dylan!
I can't stand it anymore. I'm going to sleep now. Goodbye.